Okay, we should be live now. Let me know if you are. Oh, there we go. Okay. Okay, we are live now. Welcome. Thank you all for joining us today. In this video, we're going to be looking at UFC Vegas 73. We'll go through final picks, lineup construction. I'll do a little Q&A for your straight betting as well as your DFS plays, and we're going to see what we can accomplish today. Now let me just check here. Okay. So I will just start going through the slate as people jump in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look here at just some of the matchups that we have, and we'll talk about them as we go through. Give me one sec here. Scottsdale, Arizona. Shout out Scottsdale, Arizona. Give me 1 second. I'm using a different streaming platform. This will all be time stamped when I'm done, so if you're watching it after the fact, you can go here. Okay. Sorry about that. All right. So I will get back into the lineups for the week, or rather the plays for the week. So when I look at the main event with Mackenzie, Dern, and Angela Hill, a couple of things stand out to me, really. I think that Angela Hill's got the output. She could deny the takedowns well enough, and I think just overall, she's going to be able to work Mackenzie Dern as they go through. And on DraftKings, she's sitting at 7,100. She's one of my favorite plays of the slate. I don't know how you guys feel about Angela Hill this week, but Angela Hill has that output in this 5-round setting where she could put up 130 DraftKings points. It wouldn't be crazy. Wouldn't be crazy at all. I'm trying to look through here, and you see only a 5-round loss with Michelle Waterson Gomez. She's got 59 total DraftKings points in that contest. But if she comes out here and lands north of 200 strikes, I could see her definitely being one of the highest scoring players on the slate. And obviously, if you're going to run cash game lineups this week, you're going to want Mackenzie Dern, you're going to want Angela Hill. My issue though with Mackenzie Dern is that she just can't get the fight to the ground. I don't know how else you could look at it. She can't get the fight to the ground, and that's where she needs the fight to be if she's going to be successful at all. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Tintin in the chat. Thank you, Mr. Miyagi in the chat. If we're going to build out the rest of the cash game lineup, I talked about this on KunithMMA.com as well. So if you have a membership, you'll see everything there. But a couple of plays that I really like this week for cash aren't so much down in the low tier salary that we normally look at when we look at, possibly punting for cash games. But rather, I'm looking at somebody like Michael Johnson this week. I think Michael Johnson is extremely live to get it done. Maybe earlier on Fridays would be ideal. Yeah, no, I agree with you, Carter. Michael Johnson at 7,500, I think can make a whole lot of noise on this slate. Absolutely. I also think that Gilbert Urbina can make a whole lot of noise. We have the benefit now of looking at this after weigh-ins, and I don't know if you guys saw Orion Kosei at weigh-ins, but it was bad biscuits, brother. And I'm telling you right now, if he comes out there flat, he gasses out, if he looks anything like his brother did against Trevin Giles, and he's screwed. I think that Gilbert Urbina, being taller, longer, I think a bit more dangerous, can tie something up and catch him off guard while he's not so fresh. So really, you're going to get a winner from the main event, and you just need one of these guys to win because it opens up a lot of possibilities with your salary. You obviously want to do your best to get to Natalia Silva this week because she doesn't lose. There's no way she's able to lose the fight. And then you've got 8,800 left over. You can get all the way up to Viecheslav Borshchev, who I think is very live for a knockout win here. And even if you didn't want to pay all the way up there, you still have this whole range to work with. Although I don't love this range. I don't know if you guys have noticed if you're looking at the betting odds this week, but a lot of these fights are very, very close from a betting perspective. And you could tell the matchmakers were looking to do that. So I'm hard pressed to really like anybody. Like Carlos Diego Ferreira, we can't put him in this lineup because we have Michael Johnson. Loopy Godinez, let me know what some of you guys think about Loopy Godinez, but personally, I'm not really moved by her performances as of late. I think that Loopy Godinez arguably lost against Cynthia Calvillo, didn't do enough against Angela Hill as a big favorite in that spot. Ariane Carnelozzi was kind of the outlier performance, and it catfished me into thinking that Loopy Godinez was going to be able to do that to anybody she fought, but that doesn't really seem to be the case at this point. So I don't love Loopy Godinez here. Karolina Kowalkiewicz, I don't love her either. I don't know if Karolina's going to be able to put anything out there that damages Vanessa Demopoulos, nor do I think that she's going to be able to grapple with Demopoulos effectively. So she's kind of limited in that respect, and she could go out there, win this fight, and score 47 DraftKings points or something like that. Orion Kosei, we have the other side. Even Nick Fiore. I like Chase Hooper. Come on now. So if you're here, I would definitely land with Viecheslav Borshchev, if anything. But you can also change some things around. You don't have to get all the way up to Natalia Silva. If you wanted to come here, grab somebody like Fluffy Hernandez, 9,100 left over. You can take Nascimento if you wanted, and I'm fine with that. Now, if we're looking at tournament lineups and getting weird this week, we can build a couple. We could take a look at what your tournament lineups can look like. So we'll blow this up. We'll take a look at tournament lineups. I think one of the sneakier plays for tournaments this week is right here at Themba Gorimbo, 8,000. I don't think that Themba Gorimbo is going to fly under the radar in a sense, but I do think that there's a good chance that we see Themba Gorimbo finish this fight and come in around 34-35% ownership, and at 8,000 it really won't matter. That'd be good chalk at that point. Another fight that you need to probably have the winner of is Joaquin Buckley and Andre Fialho. Joaquin Buckley, we all know that he's a kill or be killed kind of guy. He's fought 9 times in the UFC. 7 of those fights have ended by knockout. And on the flip side, for Andre Fialho, he's fought 5 times in the UFC. 4 of those fights have ended by knockout. So you're looking at a situation where one of these guys probably goes north of 90 to 100 DraftKings points just because of that knockout. But I do think that Joaquin Buckley is the better side in that matchup. And the reason why I say that is because Andre Fialho, he moves backward too much. And kind of like Loopy Godinez, he catfished us because he knocked out Miguel Baeza, which just kind of happened quite a bit toward the end of Miguel Baeza's UFC tenure. I don't know if he's still in the promotion or not. But he knocks out Miguel Baeza. He knocks out Cameron Van Camp, who's a lightweight stepping up on short notice. And I don't think that Andre Fialho is really going to be somebody who wins a whole lot of fights at the UFC level because he accepts the back foot too much. I wouldn't say that he's chinny, but he is very hittable. His head doesn't really move, and he stands really straight and tall. So I think Joaquin Buckley is going to walk him down, look huge at 170 pounds, and I think that he's going to go out there and finish Andre Fialho this week. So if we plug him into the lineup, we have about 8,175 left over. And I do think that you can make a lot of noise here by just attacking some of these cheaper plays down here. And I don't know if I would say that a lot of these are value plays. I don't know if I'd go that far. But at the same time, you do need to look at some of these plays, not just Michael Johnson and not just Angela Hill. But I think if you came down here and even gave somebody like Vanessa Demopoulos a little love at 7,700, we've seen her score well, 100 points last time out against Maria Oliveira, 92 against Silvana Gomez-Juarez, picking up that armbar in the first round. And I do think this is a situation where we could see Karolina Kowalkiewicz give up an armbar early. So I'm not too sold on Karolina in this spot. And I do think that we can see, let me just see here. Sorry about that. Vanessa Demopoulos pick up a finish, score a lot of points in the process. Now you've got 83-33 left over. I'm probably just going to come down here and grab Angela Hill. We've got, where's Oscar? He's in the closet. That's what he's doing. So then we've got 89.50 left over. Go right up to Borshchev again. 9,100 left over. I probably wouldn't put myself in this position, realistically, because I don't want to really play the people in this range. To be honest with you, I want to be able to either get 2 pieces from up here or nothing. So we're gonna come down a little bit. I guess you could get away with going with somebody like Loopy Godinez in this lineup just because you don't have Emily Ducote, and that allows you to get up to somebody like Fluffy Hernandez. No, it doesn't. You still have to make up 100 salary. So I guess we won't go up to Loopy. Karolina, no. Orion Kosei, no. I don't love Nick Fiore because I do think that he's going to get stuck grappling, while Chase Hooper is the better, more experienced MMA grappler despite being the younger man. So if we did go with Chase Hooper, you've left 600 salary on the table, and there's clear paths to victory for everybody in your lineup. You have the pace, the grappling, the cardio from Anthony Hernandez. You have Chase Hooper in there. Angela Hill could score more than anybody on the slate. low ownership on Vanessa Demopoulos with that submission upside. Joaquin Buckley is going to get knocked out, or he's going to knock Andre Fialho out. And then Themba Gorimbo sitting at 8,000. I think he has a huge grappling advantage here. So this would work for me for tournaments. And if you guys want, if you have any questions about your tournament lineups, you could put them in the chat. I'd be happy to answer them. I have to make up for the lost time. And you might be like, Kunith, where have you been? Why have the videos not come out? I wanted a break. I'll be honest with you. I wanted a little bit of a break. So I'll blow that up. I'll take a second, then we'll build another one. Scott, I think you're right. I do think that the dogs bark this week. Not only do I think the dogs bark this week and we get a decent amount of underdogs, I think we can get more underdogs than favorites this week. Just take all the breaks you need, brother. No problem. I think underdogs are going to dominate on this slate, and I think if you are willing to leave a lot of salary on the table on this slate, you're going to put yourself in a position to definitely separate yourself from a lot of the field, but also to capture a lot of upside. And we'll build some more lineups with more underdogs, leaving even more salary on the table in just a second. MPTV says, I can't choose between Sato and Gorimbo. Gorimbo struggles against strikers. Yeah, so here, I'll pull this back up. Donnie, did you go over cash games? We did, but I can go over it again. No problem. Jason, what up? So if we look here at Takashi Sato, just to kind of get an idea of what he was doing in his UFC run so far. Takashi Sato has fought in the UFC 6 times. He's been finished almost every time. Almost every time. I am on Hooper MD, and I'll go back to that if you're just tuning in now. But Takashi Sato knocked out immediately by Brian Battle. He gets submitted by Miguel Baeza. You don't love to see that. He has a knockout over Jason Witt and Ben Saunders, but I mean, those aren't the highest level knockouts. And against Gunnar Nelson, he just kind of waited. And I think that he's going to wait against Themba Gorimbo because Themba Gorimbo's imposing. He's a long guy. He's aggressive. And even against AJ Fletcher, he was having a lot of success with his grappling early. And Takashi Sato can't defend a takedown. So I think he's going to be in trouble. I really do think he's going to be in trouble. And if you're having issues with this fight, I think Themba Gorimbo at 8,000 makes more sense. Good to see you again. Won big on some of your takes 2 weeks ago, man. I wish we could have kept the ball rolling. I know that we did all right with the plays on KunithMMA.com last week, especially the tournament plays. Like Brian Battle, I believe, was on there. I'm drawing a blank, but we did well with the tournament plays. Live dogs, let's go. Yeah, so just for Donnie, because I know he just came in the chat, I'll quickly slap together the cash game lineup that we were looking at before. I think this makes a lot of sense. Natalia Silva, you're just getting the safest play on the card with Natalia Silva. Maybe not the highest scoring. We saw her put up 85 points back-to-back in the UFC, but at the same time, good leverage with Sato. You're not wrong about that. You're not wrong about that. But Natalia Silva, safest play on the slate. Mackenzie Dern, you're going to stack her up with Angela Hill. Hope that this goes beyond 3 rounds and both of them land a decent amount of strikes. And I think you'll be fine stacking that one. I don't see that one finishing too quickly unless Mackenzie Dern is able to quickly pull guard and grab Angela Hill's arm for an armbar or something like that. But outside of that, I don't think that's going to happen. Now I'm going to come down here. Normally, where we would punt and play somebody like a Alir Latifi, who's kind of the most intriguing fighter on the slate, and I'll talk about him in just a moment. But I was kind of living in this mid-range here with Gilbert Urbina, Michael Johnson, 8,800 left over. I'll spend it all in the cash game. I think that's fine. I definitely think that's fine. I'll talk a little bit about my man helped me take down a FanDuel tournament, used my winnings to pay for LASIK. Now I can see you much better this week. Well, it's a win-win for both of us then, isn't it? Jeez, how much did you win? Isn't LASIK super expensive? You must have done really well. Good for you, brother. Alir Latifi. I want to talk about Latifi a little bit because I know it's Ilir Latifi. I know he's 40 years old. I know that he's built like a JanSport backpack. I know that he's got no neck, and I know that he's got bad gas as well, right? I know that he's got bad gas, but my thing with Ilir Latifi is he's going to try to take Rodrigo Nascimento down. Nascimento's a big boy. Nascimento weighed in right at the heavyweight limit. Last time he did that, he got knocked out by Chris Daukaus inside of a minute, I believe. So the weight cut could take a lot out of him. And he has 100% takedown defense in the UFC, but he hasn't defended any takedowns in the UFC. Both men have 100% takedown defense in the UFC, but I'm referring specifically to Nascimento, who is rocking this high takedown defense, but no one's tried to take him down. Ilir Latifi is going to try to take him down. And if he's able to get this big guy in his back, Ilir Latifi he's not going to get off him. He's going to ride out the round unless the referee separates them. But I could see Rodrigo Nascimento gassing out just as hard as Ilir Latifi. I totally could. And think back to Junior Tafa fighting Mo Usman a couple weeks ago, or a couple months ago at this point maybe, where he just got taken down, was a turtle on his back. He was unable to get up. And yes, DraftKings does give you 5 points per takedown. So I do think that if you went with Ilir Latifi, he was able to secure a takedown every round, ride out top position. He could score a decent amount of points. Really, though, if he went nuclear, it's because you are going to get a submission win. If you get a submission win from Ilir Latifi, he's going nuclear, and you're in a good spot. So again, it's tough to want to get to Ilir Latifi at 7,200. It makes it a little bit easier to click that button. This is one of those guys who, if he scores 90 DraftKings points, comes in at 18% ownership. You see Nascimento probably get a decent amount of love this week from the public, then he could break the slate. He's one of those guys who's in prime position where at the end of the night you're looking at who's chopping the first place prize and you're thinking, really, Ilir Latifi, that's what beat me? The Ninja Turtle himself? That's crazy. Jonathan McCoy says a couple weeks ago he won $6,000 on his FanDuel slate. There you go. I'm picking Shabhazyan as a slate breaker this week. What do you think? Teddy, I mean, it could happen, brother. It totally could happen because we've seen Fluffy Hernandez have a ton of success with his grappling. We also saw Kevin Holland fold him like an omelet with a knee to the body. And I think that Edmen Shabhazyan, he's got that sharp technique, especially from range, where if he starts throwing these body kicks, he could fold them up like church clothes as well. So I do think that Edmen Shabhazyan is live at 6,800 if you want some exposure there. I think that makes sense. I totally think that makes sense. But Edmen Shabhazyan is not somebody who I'm dying to put in my player pool. But at the same time, like, the game is about taking risks. You know that. So go for it. Go for it. But a couple of other fighters, though, who could end up being slate breaking. I think Andre Fialho could definitely shake things up on this slate, because as much as I think that he's going to move backward too much, succumb to the aggression of Joaquin Buckley, all it takes is one. Like, this dude is powerful, very powerful. So we will definitely see. Those knees are coming up the middle this weekend, baby. There you go. We'll definitely see. But I think that Angela Hill is probably the best play at this range down here. I can see Victoria Leonardo winning by DQ. Yeah, right, busting up the slates. That would be ridiculous. At 6,500, no thank you. No thank you. If Latifi has a nice suit on, I could see him in the next John Wick. Dude, they don't make suits in those dimensions. You got to be a hell of a tailor to be able to wrap some fabric around Ilir Latifi. What's more likely, Urbina sub or Kosi knockout? I would say Gilbert Urbina sub. I think that's more likely outcome. No video this week. Thomas, you're watching me do a video right now. No, I'm kidding there. No, I didn't have any videos this week. I was telling people earlier in the chat, I just needed a break. And I know that next week we're off and then we come back. I am traveling. I'll be in Puerto Rico for the UFC 289, or I believe it's 289, whatever Amanda Nunes is headlining. But I'm going to try to film those videos in advance, and I'm going to try to do it live while we're there. Ted says, I got Hill this weekend too. It's a sketchy card. It is. It's a lot of close matchups, though. That makes it fun. You ever hit big on DraftKings? I have, yeah. More so with NFL than UFC, I'll tell you that. But I have had good nights in the UFC, like 3,000, 4,000, 5,000. They're few and far between, though. Like, UFC DFS is tricky, I won't lie to you. Leonardo's, what's that say? Leonardo's going to go out and put on a grappling clinic tomorrow. No, he's not doing that. You deserve a day off. Thank you, Tomas. I appreciate that. I like Urbina in general. He recently scored like 36 points in 2 rounds with a loss, and he has high output. And I think, Kosi looked kind of tired. Yeah, Kosi's definitely a gasser, and like we talked about earlier in the stream, he looked like death at the weigh-ins. And I was just talking to a buddy of mine about this yesterday, that I don't put too much stock into weigh-ins. I think that when it comes to the predictions, there's so much noise out there. Like, you hear, oh, this guy looked bad at weigh-ins. Oh, this guy's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, which it means nothing. Journey Newson is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, to put it in perspective for you. But I saw Ryan Kosi, I saw a video, and he looked terrible. Jason C says Kosi looked like crap at weigh-ins. He did. Kosi's level of competition is questionable by MPTV. That's absolutely true. Absolutely true. I don't mind the break. I just wish you wouldn't have blamed Oscar. Listen, that's part of Oscar's job. He does nothing else here, and nothing well. The few things that he does things, but the few things that he does, he doesn't do well. So I will blame him. But at least I came clean. It wasn't Oscar. He didn't spill the horchata. Oscar would never spill a sugary beverage. Look at the size of you. Ridiculous. But yeah, I don't think Kosi's really going to give a good account of himself this week. But at the same time, like, Gilbert Urbina's a hard guy to trust. Believe that. Mike Johnson showing up on any of your lineups. See Ferreira guy with 3 straight L's and 2 KO losses. Yeah, I mean, Carlos Diego Ferreira is a solid fighter, and he's fought high-level competition throughout his career. He's been in the UFC for a long time, because you look at some of these guys. You've got Matus Gamrot, top of the division. Gregor Gillespie, the best wrestler in the division or close to it once upon a time. Benny Dariush could fight for a title tomorrow, and no one would say that's unjustified. But at the same time, his last win in the UFC is over Anthony Pettis in 2020, over 3 years ago or over 2 years ago. I'm not looking at that, because on the flip side, you have Michael Johnson, who he's younger, even though Michael Johnson's an old guy. He's younger than Carlos Diego Ferreira. And at the same time, you look at his fight with Jamie Malarkey, it's a split decision. I thought that he won watching live, and that would be 3 wins in the last calendar year, when the other guy hasn't gotten a win in 3 years. I think that Michael Johnson's going to piece him up. I don't know if he knocks him out, but I do think that Michael Johnson gets the job done this week. Kose makes too many mistakes for me to put my faith in him against the ground game of Urbina. Yeah, good take. Good take. Thoughts on Buckley? Yeah, I think Buckley goes out there and knocks him out. He's going to get knocked out, or he's going to knock him out, but I think that Joaquin Buckley at 170 pounds is going to be jacked. He's going to be huge. We saw him at weigh-ins. He looked great, and I think he's going to be too physically imposing. He's going to march down Andre Fialho, and I think that he finds a hook that ends the night inside the 2nd round. I don't think it goes to the 3rd round. The credit I'm giving Urbina was not getting finished by Sean Brady. I don't mind that. Michael Whalen, appreciate the breakdown, brother. I appreciate your presence, brother. Thank you. We'll build a lineup with Michael Johnson in it to give you a look. You were just asking a moment ago. Michael Johnson, Angela Hill, and this would be for tournaments. Michael Johnson, Angela Hill, Chase Hooper, Themba Garimbo, and this is what I'm talking about. You can leave salary on the table. You can play underdogs, because now, if I wanted to, I can come all the way up here to Natalia Silva. I can grab Fluffy Hernandez. We know that Joaquin Buckley is going to carry a lot of ownership, so if somehow he shows up and puts up less than 80 points, or less than 90 points, around 80 points, then this would make sense, leaving 400 salary on the table. Or If he doesn't do that, he goes out there and delivers that early knockout, then you could leave 800 salary on the table, play 4 underdogs, and make it happen. Thanks for the info. What about your thoughts on Dern? Mackenzie Dern kills me, man. Mackenzie Dern somehow has all these submissions, but on paper she can't get fights to the ground. But when you go back and watch, she does a good job of tying women up, pulling them into her guard, kind of like we saw Crone Gracie trying to do against Charles Jourdain last time out. But I don't think that Mackenzie Dern is going to be able to get to Angela Hill. I think Angela Hill is going to be too slippery. SK says Dern is overrated. Hill plus 5.5 is worth a shot. Definitely is, because that means that Hill just wins a round, right? That's what that bet is, I believe. But for Mackenzie Dern, I think that the striking hasn't really come along at a crazy high level yet. I know that she was able to go toe-to-toe in a sense with Yan Xiaonan, who's coming off a who's coming off a knockout over Jessica Andrade. We saw Mackenzie Dern put a lot out there, but I just think that you're going to see Angela Hill deny the takedowns, throw sharper technique. My issue, though, I will say this, and for Mackenzie Dern, my issue with Angela Hill is that she's been in so many close fights, and Angela Hill gets robbed all the time. Like Dan from Best Fight Pick said it when he was talking about Jorge Masvidal, gets robbed more than a 7-11. It's true. Angela Hill gets robbed all the time, but and that's because her fights are really close. She's 15-12, and it gets a little weird. If you lose 12 fights, there's almost a level of acceptance that comes with that. That kind of bothers me about playing Angela Hill. And I almost said laying the chalk on Angela Hill, but you're not, right? But playing Angela Hill does worry me a little bit, and not playing Mackenzie Dern worries me a little bit, because Angela Hill, we've seen her lose so many times. So many times. SK says the plus 5.5, Hill has to win 2 rounds. Okay, I understand what you're saying. She has to win 2 rounds. I think that she could. Although I don't like that better than just taking Angela Hill straight up. I think if Angela Hill's winning 2 rounds, she probably is winning the fight. Let's see. I'm actually liking Hill by decision. Yep, there you go. I'm looking at Hooper, Garimba, Fluffy, Dern, Hill, or Bina right now for cash. Dern is the biggest letdown when it comes to DraftKings. Some are drafting someone with grappling upside. Yeah, we could definitely get a little Crone Gracie butt scooting situation. Kosi was making Drickus Duplessis faces at stare down. Yikes, huffing and puffing and breathing heavy. Yeah, I don't think that guy's gonna bring his A game this weekend, to say the least. Yes, cash. Yeah, then I like that. I'll actually, not trying to put no heat on your stuff here, but I am gonna make that just so you can see it on paper here, see it in front of me here. So this would be a cash game lineup. Everybody steal his lineup. No, I'm just kidding. Let me see. So you've got Hill as well. You got Dern. You're looking at Urbina and Fluffy. Yeah. Yeah. I like that for cash. I definitely like that for cash. Been missing your content. Hope you're doing okay. Doing just fine. Doing just fine. Just needed a little break. Sometimes it's a lot, man, especially since I started doing the live shows. The live shows, they take a lot out of you. You're on for an hour and some change, so they definitely take a lot out of you. Hats off to people who do it week in and week out, and I still plan on doing it. We have some big guests. I don't know if I should tell you who our upcoming guests are, but we have some big guests coming that I'm pretty happy about. Let's see. Dern does it in like 4 or 5 by sub. I could totally see that. Angela looks amazing, but at what point does she start looking her age? Seems to be fighting. She seems like she has been fighting a lot too. Angela Hill fights every weekend, man. Everybody knows that. Do you like stacking the main events, or do you think stacking the main event in tournaments could work this week? No. So that's a very rare situation when stacking the main event will get you what you need. Like, for example, I think Yuri Prohaska and Glover Teixeira, if you stack them together, you could have won a tournament. I've used this example countless times on the channel, but Rob Font and Marlon Vera, they both scored a ton of points. I think that happened with Rob Font as well. So it can happen sometimes where stacking it in a tournament makes sense. And you could also get away with stacking in smaller field stuff. Like if you play like the $100 single entry with around 227 people in there, then yeah, stacking the tournament could make sense. I don't know if you hear the landscapers outside. It's not Oscar. It's Oscar's brother, Kosker. And but yeah, no, I wouldn't stack the main event this week in turn. Dern was busy with a divorce. I wonder how focused she is. Yeah, that's like the noise thing that I was talking about before. I don't even consider that. That's a good point, considering we've also seen Dern come out on top of some bad decisions. Yeah. No, by all means, I think that it's referring to when I was showing your lineup. DFK can be tricky sometimes, not all the time. You mean DFS? I don't know. You and Blood Money killed it. Appreciate that. I like the live stream, relax versus regular videos, cool stuff. Maybe I should do it more often than just hang out with you guys, talk a little fights. If you don't mind me asking, how much do you make from YouTube? Not enough. You don't have a membership on KunithMMA.com. Is Silva worth the points at 9,700, or is she someone, or you see someone who will score? So this is tough with Natalia Silva at 9,700. It really is. So we saw her come out against Jasmine Jasudavicius, and the cool thing about Natalia Silva, it's not great for fantasy per se. It's great for straight betting, and it's great for her as a fighter overall. It seemed to me like in the first two fights, she was trying to get minutes in the octagon, which could be really helpful. You know, she was taking her time. She was letting the fight come to her. She wasn't getting overly aggressive. A lot of movement, a lot of counter striking, a lot of defensive grappling as well. And I do think that she could do the same thing here, because Victoria Leonardo, if she's closing distance, she's going to get caught with counter punches and kicks to the body all day. And I don't think Victoria Leonardo is necessarily all that tough, all that durable. Should say durable. Not she's tough. She's probably tougher than me. I'd say that. But I think that Natalia Silva probably goes out there and finishes her in, say, the second round. Probably scores around the 85 points again. So I could definitely see some other fighters scoring more than her. I don't see the main event winner making optimal lineup. I don't know about that, bro. I don't know about that, because Angela Hill's putting a lot out there. I think if Mackenzie Dern wins, she might not show up on the optimal lineup. But I think Angela Hill's gonna, if she wins, it's because she's throwing a ton of strikes. Unless we get like, you know, a Rose Namajunas, Carla Esparza kind of situation on our hands, which I pray we do not. But Angela Hill scored 104 last time in 3 rounds against Emily Ducote. Crazy pace. But she wasn't wrestling all that much. She wasn't defending too many takedowns. Against Loopy Godinez, 71 points. Berna Janjiroba, 27 points. But these are losses, right? You have to look at the wins. Michelle Waterson, 59 points. I think there's a chance that if she wins, if she doesn't show up on the optimal lineup, but given that she's got 5 rounds to work, I think the chances are slim. Did you steal that Gatorade bottle from a high school locker room? It's probably mine from my old high school locker room from the football days. Or it's a new one. I don't know, but we used to use those. Carolina versus Demopoulos. I think Vanessa is better. Carolina is washed. Yes, I agree with that. I think she scores too low and is going to be really overplayed this week. There's better choices. There are better choices. I would agree. I don't think there are safer choices than Natalia Silva considering her matchup, but I do think there's a situation where she doesn't score that many points. Who's your favorite DK captain? Is Kunith older or younger than 30? Let me open up captain mode. Take a look. Take a look. What do you think? How old do you think I am? Oh. 33. Goodness gracious me. Okay, so here's captain mode. 80? There you go. Or getting warmer. Let me see. So with captain, you kind of want to attack not the highest end. I don't think that would be wise. But you want somebody who's real low owned. Like I had Matt Frivola at my captain spot when he knocked out Drew Dober, and he was like 2% owned or something like that, maybe even less in the captain spot. I would grab one. You know what? Your captain this week is Angela Hill. Believe it or not, your captain this week is Angela Hill, because then you can grab Hernandez. You could grab Buckley. Got 7,800 left over. You could even grab Borshchev. This is kind of chalk. We obviously, just with the way that things are going to shake out. If you came here and you wanted to grab somebody like an Urbina, you could. Basically could grab anybody at this point. I would say if I was left in this situation, I'd be tempted to play Vanessa Demopoulos at 6,800, leaving 1,100 salary on the table. Definitely not worried about that. The 28, I'm going to guess 27. Okay. Yeah, he did Prices Right you. He did. But you both lose. How about that? Hernandez is my favorite, but also like Buckley or Fialho for captains. 9,400. Oh, no. I need you in captain spot. Okay. It leaves things pretty tight, right? You'll have to come down here. Say you grab Angela Hill. Urbina. Yeah, I guess so, right? You can go Michael Johnson if you wanted to. You can go Borshchev if you wanted to. And you're right here. I think if most people were in this spot, they'd probably do this. That's a good point, MPTV. Dern is allowed to be more honest in her approach, but Angela may be gun shy out of fear of the takedown. That's true. I don't think that Angela Hill, not that I mind, but do you know that the camera lags? I am doing this through OBS. When I was doing it on the other live streams, it was with a different program. So when, I don't know if you tuned in, but when I did it with Blood Money or when I did it with Best Fight Picks, was it lagging at all? Let me know. Yeah, but back to the point about Mackenzie Dern. Yeah, she can be more honest. She can kind of just let it all hang out, because, I mean, it's not like Angela Hill's going to knock her out, and it's not like Angela Hill's going to take her down. But at the same time, I do think that while she isn't in a lot of danger, she can be under a lot of desperation if minutes are going by and she's losing rounds. If you just play Shabhazyan like I did, you could do anything. Yeah, that makes sense. I kind of like Urbina as a captain. I think he scores well and maybe gets a finish. Yep, I like that. I like that thinking. Nate MMA Picks is back. What up? How's it going? How's it going? I'm done with Fialho. He doesn't like getting hit at all. I don't think anybody does, to be fair. He'll start backing up when Buckley touches him. Yeah, no, he definitely will. He's definitely too accepting of the back foot. Even against Cameron Van Camp, he was getting walked down. And luckily for him, Cameron Van Camp, chinny, short notice, debut, up a weight class, hands down, walked right into it. But I think that you're right about Andre Fialho there. But that's putting a lot on Gilbert Urbina. Yeah, I mean, you got to get different somehow. Donnie, I don't remember. Okay, you're no help to me, Donnie. Jeez Louise. Fialho is a one-round fighter. Game over if it goes to round 2. And Buckley can dig deep. We've seen Buckley dig deep, even against Nasruddin Imavov. He was maybe a minute away or a couple of straighter shots away from pulling victory from the jaws of defeat there. But Dern has no takedown. Correct. That's right. Maybe this stream is ChatGPT made. Oh, so maybe it's not me. It's just an AI version of me. I bet 4 more dogs win this week, says Carmi. I agree. I could see that. Don't even bet the main event. Who cares? It's trash. The only reason we have eyes on it is because of Dern. If it was anyone else, people would be pissed at the main event. I think people are pissed at the main event anyway. I don't think this is one of the better main events that they've trotted out in some time. Buckley looked pretty voodat at weigh-in. Voodat? I don't know what that is. Oh, pretty damn good. I like voodat. That might be a thing that we say on the channel now. What's the take on Borshchev and Maheshate fade completely? I could see why you'd say that. I could see why that might be an option in your mind, because they could just have a kickboxing match, and a kickboxing match that goes the distance typically isn't scoring all that well. So I could definitely understand that logic. At the same time, I do think that Viecheslav Borshchev goes out there and knocks him out. So that's something. I think for me, Maheshate is unplayable, because you got to think Viecheslav Borshchev's been getting terrible matchmaking, right? Like, just he's getting guys that are taking him down, having their way with him with the grappling, and when every time he's on the feet, he's having success. Even against Ducote Bush, right? Even against Ducote Bush, he was getting grappled. I believe he got taken down, and then he gets back up to his feet, bang, left hook to the body, right? So yeah, Borshchev absolutely lights him up. I think so too. I think Borshchev definitely gets to him this week. I think he lands first, I think he lands third, and I think he knocks him out. Dude, I'm just trying to draft a team. I don't know why this is so hard right now. What's your thoughts on Ferguson versus Gaethje? Ferguson versus Gaethje. That happened some time ago. It was a beating that Tony took. I assume you probably mean Poirier Gaethje 2. I actually think Gaethje beats him. Okay. Hooper looked a bit bigger, even with 10 pounds added, more defined. Looks like he's been lifting weights. Yeah, he has looked like he's filled out. Borshchev was wrestling with new Chechnya guys from his camp. Dude, Borshchev has the worst takedown defense in all of MMA right now. Based on his fight with Mike Davis, I'm high confidence with Slava. Yeah. Angela Hill dominates and loses by decision. Yeah. And you can't expect the judges to get it right either. I have a couple of ideas on how judging could be fixed, but just the way that it's done now is so ridiculous. Between Demopoulos and Ducote, which one do you think has more value? So we haven't really talked a lot about Emily Ducote, but I think that she's live to win this fight, and we could talk a little bit about it. Emily Ducote, she puts a lot out there, which you like. The thing is, I do think that she could get taken down and held down. At the same time, Loopy Godinez just seems like she's fighting just to fight, maybe fighting just to make as much money as possible in a short amount of time. But I don't think that the best version of Loopy Godinez is going out there, so removed from her fight against Cynthia Calvillo, where it was not an easy fight for her. She had to go through her whole training camp, gets back in there right away, has to make weight again. I know it was a catch. I know it's at a catch weight, but still, we might see her come out flat like she did against Angela Hill when she basically told everybody after that she was sick. But we've seen Loopy Godinez lose winnable fights. It's her debut against Jessica Penne. You want to give her a pass because it's her debut, but at the same time, you should be beating Jessica Penne, I feel, especially when she was such a big favorite that night. And then Silvana Gomez Juarez can't really grapple. Luana Carolina, she was a big favorite. You want her to win. Angela Hill, she's a big favorite. You want her to win. And she's a reasonable favorite here. Nothing crazy, but she's somebody who gets a lot of love from the Vegas betting. So from the odds makers perspective. So it's no surprise that she's the favorite, but I think that Emily Ducote could win and be sneaky on DraftKings. Okay, is 1400 too much to leave on the table for a lineup? No, especially if you're playing in a bigger contest. If you're playing a single entry contest with a few hundred people, I wouldn't go out of my way to leave as much as 1400 salary on the table, although on this card you could probably get away with it. I know we've talked about this on the channel before, but there was a time, I think it was the card where Jamal Hill knocked out Jimmy Crute, where if you downloaded everything and went back through and looked at what happened on the slate, the optimal lineup, which I don't even believe was played in the big contest, would have left around 2,000 to 2,200 salary on the table. So it's not impossible. We see time and time again in our contest, people use all the salary, and then, you know, they end up chopping the first place prize, or close to all the salary end up chopping the first place prize. But if that's your process, leaving a lot of salary on the table, and you stick to it throughout the calendar year, you might break through on one or two slates, maybe more. Lupita under 2 takedowns. Lupita under 2 takedowns. It's perfectly lined. I would say, I'd say yeah. It's not a bet I would love. Like, I don't love taking the under on something like that, but I would say that's fine. Vanessa Demopoulos missing weight. Somebody mentioned what I think about the Mauler. Said, what do you think about the 2 weight misses? Vanessa Demopoulos and Orion Kosei missing weight. I'm concerned for Kosei. I'm not concerned for Demopoulos, just because I don't think that Karolina Kowalkiewicz is going to do a whole lot to punish her or make her uncomfortable or push a pace that she won't be able to sustain in a situation like that against Vanessa Demopoulos. I think Demopoulos will be fine. For Kosei, I think that, you know, it's a guy who's already got bad gas. Now he's clearly has a bad weight cut, you know, because he missed close too. He missed close, so missed by 0.5. That's crazy. Like, you should be able to shave your head and your butt and get there. Make sure you hit the like button, people. Yeah, you should. I agree, Carmi. Does Hooper get the fight to the ground or his face kicked in? So Nick Fiore is probably looking to get the fight to the ground. Chase Hooper's definitely looking to get the fight to the ground. So I do think that they end up on the ground, and I think that Chase Hooper ends up being the better grappler here. More experience, more MMA experience, UFC experience, higher level of competition he's fought. Even Matus Rebecki, who's a power puncher, was absolutely gassed and was taking Nick Fiore down. I know it was on short notice. I get that, but I do think that Chase Hooper is going to be a better grappler. Who do you got, Angela Hill or Mackenzie Dern? I have Hill. I slightly have Hill. Ducote plus 3.5 is money. I thought Loopy lost to Cynthia Calvillo. I thought so too. I know a lot of people felt the same way. I mean, it was close. I wouldn't say it was a robbery, and I know you're not saying that either, but I do think that that's a fight that didn't need to be that close. I feel like she should have worked over Cynthia Calvillo. She's definitely overrated. When is the last time she dominated the opponent instead of going to razor thin decisions? It was against Ariane Carnellosi. When she fought Ariane Carnellosi, she put it on her. Absolutely put it on her. Even against Loma Lookboonmi, she took her down a whole bunch, controlled her for a long time. So she's had good Google Bard AI went 11-0 in last week's picks. Put the picks in the chat and let us know. She's had good fights. Like, she's had good performances, I mean, but I think that her last 2 fights have definitely been closer than you want in matchups that you would think are favorable, and for that reason I can't trust her this week. But I put on, I'm thinking about it now, I put on the articles, or one of the articles on KunithMMA.com. I think it's a DFS strategy guide. You can run, but you can't hide from women's MMA this week. You really can't. We've got 4 women's MMA fights on the card, and you can make a case for most of them. The Godinez and Ducote one is my least favorite, but Angela Hill, Mackenzie Dern, I think you need the winner there. Say it's Angela Hill. Carolina and Vanessa Demopoulos. I think if Carolina wins, probably doesn't get there. If Demopoulos wins, it's probably inside the distance, and she probably gets there. And I think Vanessa Demopoulos has a better chance of getting a decision in this fight. If it's close, if the rounds are close, I think judges will favor her style, her forward movement a little bit more. And then Natalia Silva against Victoria Leonardo, who's really just going to try to clinch her up against the fence, maybe drag her down. Are you saying stack 4 decisions? Yeah, dude. you gotta match the chaos when it comes to MMA DFS. But Victoria Leonardo, finished against Manon Fior, finished against Melissa Gatto, beats Mandy Bohm. Doesn't really mean much. But Natalia Silva, Vanessa Demopoulos, Angela Hill, I'd be fine if you had a lineup with these 3. You watching any NBA? I am. I gotta slap together. I think I have time. I think it starts at 8:30. I have to slap together my same game parlay for the game tonight. Yeah, it starts at 8:30. I'm good. With NBA, I've been having success with the next field goal. What I like to do is take whatever team has the bigger number, 3-pointer. So Vanessa over Ducote, yes, I'd say so. But I would take I'd take like yesterday I took Lakers 3-pointer like 3 separate times, and boom, boom, boom. So, and the odds are ridiculous. So it's pretty cool. Denver Nuggets all day. Whatever, man. No, I don't have any dog in the fight. I don't even have a favorite basketball team. I was a big Steve Nash guy in his prime, in his time. Do you have any Underdog fantasy plays this week? Yeah, I could pull up Underdog fantasy. We can take a look there. Yeah, this card is reeking of horrible judging. Dude, the UFC is going to have terrible judging no matter what. And I'll talk about this a little bit while I pull this up. The UFC is going to have awful judging no matter what you do. And a lot of the reason for that is simply because hey, don't be hating. Yeah. I think they're clicking. They're hitting on all cylinders. They're probably going to win. But about the judging, so these judges sit cage side. They're looking up through a cage. They don't get any other angle. So if the fighters are fighting and their back, one of their backs is facing you, and they throw a hook and the other guy weaves the hook, from your perspective it looks like it landed. Okay, boom. I'll make a note of that, or I'll make a mental note of that. Why is your stream so laggy? Because my computer is essentially a Texas Instruments calculator. But yeah, like the angle is terrible. They don't get a little screen, right? Like we at home get a way better look than the judges cage side, and then they don't even get the striking totals. It's ridiculous. Do you think Garimbo wins? Yeah, I think Garimbo wins. I don't think Embiid should have won MVP for sure. I agree with that. Google barred AI likes Dern by submission, Shabhazyan by knockout, Fialho by knockout, Bahia by submission, Kosei by decision, Carolina by decision. Jokic should have won. You're right, brother. They should be watching through a monitor at the very least. At the very least. Another thing that kills me too is that there's only 3 of them. Like that, one judge can change everything. One judge who isn't looking at things the right way can change everything because singularly they have way too much power. Like there should be like 5 judges, 7 judges, right? More judges than the ones that we have now, because then you have situations like Derek Cleary giving Aljamain Sterling the 5th round against Henry Cejudo, and that was the clearest round of the entire fight. So, and you also have to think too, this guy's judging other fights throughout the night. It's getting late local time. He's been there all day. Dude's drowsy. Got some drowsy judging, you know? Like he's gonna get a JUI for that. Let's see here. MMA. Props and parlays. Okay. They should have 5 judges that watch it on a monitor, in my opinion. They should. They absolutely should. So when we look at the underdog plays, a couple of them stand out to me. I like the higher than 38.5 significant strikes for Fluffy Hernandez because I think he's just going to stay so busy even if he gets to a dominant position on top. I like the finish for Joaquin Buckley. Loopy, lower than 2 takedowns. She could just get sucked into a kickboxing match. That wouldn't surprise me at all. Oh, for a second, I thought this was fantasy points. I was about to lose my mind. I was about to say, you're spamming that under. Natalia Silva, 57.5 significant strikes. You might want to take a shot on that. I think lower than 30 significant strikes for Takashi Sato makes a lot of sense. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4 entries. Let's see if one more jumps off the page. Heat or Celtics tonight? I don't know. I want to say the Celtics, and the Celtics are big favorites. They should have won the other night, just fell apart. Not only in the 3rd quarter when they gave up all those points, but just the sequences at the end of the game were absurd. I think the Celtics get back on track tonight. The Celtics not only should win tonight, but they should win. I would say before it gets to Game 7, they should probably win in 6 now. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm looking at these and I'm trying to confidently tell you which one I think you should play, but I don't love them. So Fluffy, nearly 40 significant strikes, higher. Give me Buckley finish. Give me under takedowns for Loopy. Give me under takedowns for Takashi Sato. I'm cool with that. And Underdog Fantasy, there's a link in the description now for you to get a deposit match up to $100. You can also use promo code Kunith. I think that makes sense. That way you could put your let's say you put $20 in, they gave you $20 to work with. 10x on this, you can go 400, or you can hit the insurance, which I always recommend. 240 if all of them hit, and if that doesn't happen, you're still going to make 1.5x on your money. Makes sense. Okay. All right, I think I'll stay on for another minute here or so, and then we could ski-daddle. If anybody has any last-minute questions or thoughts on the card. My guy Tesh. Can't trust some UFC judges anymore, especially outside of Vegas. Yeah. No, and at least it is there this week. But yeah, no, the UFC judging has been abysmal. Thank you, Ted. Godinez has less than 2 takedowns. Ducote lights her up on the feet, giving us another dog. Very possible. So let's just see for a second. Let's go through the whole card real quick. Kind of conclude on this here. All right, so in the main event, I like Angela Hill. Co-main, I like Fluffy Hernandez. Emily Ducote and Loopy Godinez. Yes. Urbina or Kosei. I like Urbina. Are you going to upload a video for the Kai Kara France versus Amir Albazi card? Yes, and I have a massive guest lined up for that if he still wants to do it. I'm excited. It's one of the guys that I really look up to in the space. But I'll say Ducote, so giving us our second underdog. I like Buckley. Michael Johnson, our third underdog. Borshchev, Demopoulos, underdog number 5. Urbina, dog number 6. Nascimento, but I think there's a real path for Ilir Latifi. Chase Hoopa, dog number 7. And then Natalia Silva. Do you think Hill wins by decision? Best women's play this weekend. Sorry for the caps. I'll be sorry for the caps. I understand the tone you're trying to take with me, Nate. Yeah, I think Hill by decision is going to be the play this week. Thanks, Kunith. I look forward to taking your dollar tomorrow. Hey, Kevin, you took a lot of dollars for a couple of weeks consecutively, or at least close together, and then dried up on you, didn't it? Appreciate your time and your thoughts. Thank you, Kim. DFS by the numbers, not DFS by the numbers for next week, but he will be on our one of our live shows sometime next month. Thanks for the wisdom, brother. I don't know if I'd go as far as calling it wisdom. I'd fade Ducote and Loopy and GPP. Too many live dogs, and I don't think Ducote scores high with a win. That's exactly what they want you to think, isn't it, Scott? I'm in a slump, broski. You'll get out of your slump. Shoot or shoot. Picking the Celtics to win tonight. Yeah, Celtics are going to handle their business. It's got to be We Want Picks. No, Angelo was actually supposed to do a show with me this week. We were supposed to go live together this week, and he was moving or something like that, so we just took a rain check. But he'll be on the show soon as well. Brady agreed to be on the show soon. I just have to nail down a date. And Angelo will be on as well. Great video. I enjoy your videos, brother. Good luck all. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, brother. Okay, that is all from me. Then I will let you go. I hope you all do well. I wish you all the best of luck. Can you have Jacob instead? Angelo's a clown. I'll let him. I'll let him know. See if we can make a swap late. But thank you all for watching. I really do appreciate it. I wish you all the best of luck. We have a week off next week, and then we'll be back to our regular scheduled programming. Again, I just needed a little Breakington, if you will, a little Breaking Bad. So sorry for the wait, but we'll be back. Tell him DD said it. He hates me. Oh, okay. You're on his long list of online enemies. No, Angelo will cry. Okay, I'll keep it under wraps. He's got a lot going on already with his gout and all that. So see you guys later. Best of luck. Angelo Hill fight week, baby. Get excited. Get pumped.